is up, everybody? It's the most beautiful time of the year. El Tráfico is upon us. I am Jillian Sakovich. Welcome into the call up alongside Susannah Collins.
What's
How
up,
are
girl?
you, girlfriend?
Oh my God, I'm so good, and I am just literally so excited for this weekend because I love this matchup.
It's back, baby. I feel like we've got so much good stuff going on. So we are going to talk to the voice of LAFC, Max Bretos, about this storied asterisk 3-year rivalry. Talk about what it means to the city of LA, about what it means to the Mexican community with Carlos Vela and Chicharito. I'm trying my best, Susannah Collins, or else I say Chicharito. Just get primed and set for this one. But let's take a quick step back, Susannah Collins.
Okay.
The first El Tráfico, which, again, correct us if you like a different name, was epic. It was Zlatan Ibrahimovic off the bench, come from behind victory, the whole shebang. I'm not going to start with where I was. You, girlfriend, you were there.
I was there.
You were there.
I was there. To this day, now
Historic.
I have been very, very fortunate in my career to have witnessed a lot of very cool moments in sports. And I will tell you that this is hands down the best thing I have witnessed live. Best, hands down. So I was standing behind the goal. I was literally standing behind the Galaxy's goal. And we could see Zlatan like warming up on the sidelines. And we were like, oh my God, he's going to come in. Like this is happening. This is his first game. It was like the 72nd minute. Zlatan comes in. The crowd goes nuts. Crowd goes absolutely ballistic. Full house, packed. So the build up to that goal, you could kind of see like the ball is played in. And then it was like, he's going for it. He's going for it. So this is the goal that tied up the game. And watching it, it was like in slow motion. It was like, da, 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 and I was like, that's going in. That's going in. And I had such an incredible vantage point because I was literally standing right behind it. And I lost my mind. Like, I lost my voice after that game because I was just like screaming because it was just so unbelievable. And he's just owning that moment and people were going nuts. It was freaking amazing. And then for him to then score the game winner, it was just bananas. But Jill, one of my favorite parts about this that I don't know if people saw on the broadcast, I don't know if this got captured or not. So after the game, I'm running on the field because I've got to do some post-game interviews. And
Zlatan, where are you?
You're right. They were like, no, you're not getting Zlatan, Susannah, but good try. But I was following him because I, just wanted to be around that.
Well, you're a reporter.
Exactly. So some fan had stormed the field and
that didn't make the broadcast.
like running full speed towards Zlatan. And then he gets totally taken down by security. And Zlatan didn't even flinch. Like he literally like looked down at this guy and was just like, what are you doing? And then like kept going and like did his post-game interview.
I would have loved to have kind of seen, would Zlatan take him down physically or just with his eyes?
I honestly, I feel like he's so big and imposing that if the guy had like even made contact with him, like it would just have been like running into a brick wall. Like,
and
done.
When I've spoken to Zlatan and we've talked to our coworkers about this, he's very nice. But he doesn't almost look at you. No. We've talked about this. He like kind of almost looks through you. I'll tell you where I was, and we want to know where you guys were at home. I was at the hotel in Minnesota. Atlanta United was on the road taking on Minnesota when they were still playing at the University of Minnesota. And I was standing in the hotel bar. Like everyone, like the assistants, myself, my broadcast team, we were all kind of like hanging over the edge of the hotel lobby, like trying to catch El Tráfico. And then in what was the 71st minute, Zlatan goes in and now we're all like, well, now we can't leave. And you could hear on the TV, like them chanting, we want Zlatan. And you were in El Tráfico in the LA sun. And I was in a parka in Minnesota watching it all on TV before I got ready for my own game. So, we all have our own experiences.
Different experiences, equally as enjoyable.
Here for all of it.
Oh my God. So here for all of it. Jill, one of my other favorite El Tráfico moments.
See?
Do you remember this? So this was last season. So this was, obviously 2020 wild and crazy. So this was the first like El Tráfico matchup.
Post bubble.
This was post bubble. And Will Ferrell did a halftime interview with ESPN with John Champion and Taylor Twellman, and
who were flabbergasted.
And it was just the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. He took out his Talladega Nights helmet and put it on midway through the interview. He had this like crazy, his hair was just going in a million different places. His kids are in the background eating corn on the cob. Like it was just
that was now, that was in the bubble. So that was in the bubble. Tráfico. Talk about craziness. An El Tráfico in the bubble in Orlando.
Oh my gosh. The whole thing.
So you know what? Will Ferrell having his Talladega Nights helmet on and honestly not being aware of the questions and not even attempting to align his answers was everything. I remember sitting on the couch with my mouth open, and life was so hard then that I was so here for it. I was like, I don't know what's going on. His kids are eating some corn and this is great. Like, bring it on. Do you think Will Ferrell has earned himself an interview at this weekend's El Tráfico? That is the big question. Are they bringing the man back?
10,000%.
Something else we are here for is Susannah Collins being a really good friend. This is yet just another example of you being thoughtful, caring, and just a real trooper for all things MLS. You dug into your own pockets, girlfriend, and you sent a beautiful candle to my house that just happens to be put out by the one and only Sebastian Lletget.
Sebastian.
Talk about a good friend. You sent me, this one is called Pacific Mornings. So this, you are just, I mean, he should really be paying you. You sent me one and you sent yourself the other. I have Pacific Mornings, fresh patchouli, brisk light musk, and Pacific sandalwood. It has a very sensual, spicy smell. Ooh. It's kind of like when you pass someone walking down the street and then you're like, it almost catches your eye through your nose.
Yeah, I like that. I bet Becky G likes that one too.
This must be what he smells like. I'm gonna guess.
So true story. I was, it was like late at night, and I saw that Sebastian Lletget was promoting new candles, and I thought, well, Jillian, I obviously have to have these, and so I'm going to mark this down as one of the more random purchases I've made over the last year. But I felt like it would make for great content. So I have Du Bois. This candle is literally called Du Bois, and the description reads as this: cool, brisk Sunday on the pitch. The scent brings you a soccer breeze after a light morning rain and scene. And I will tell you, it's lovely. I mean, I'm kind of getting it. He kind of nailed it with the description. It's very pleasant. I will happily burn this candle. So Sebastian is venturing into the candle game. Good for him.
Yeah, he's venturing into the candle game. When is the limited edition one with some gold foil? That's called Becky G coming out. Is really what I need to know. And I also like how cool we played it. We were obsessing in our group text, Sebastian Lletget has a candle, and we're like, oh, maybe he'll send them to us. And then I want to say, Suze, you know what? You waited a solid 3 hours before you pulled the trigger.
I did. I thought about it, and then I was like,
we played it pretty cool, maybe.
Why not? Also it's just, it's fun. And, it's not every day that an MLS player comes up with their own candle. So,
I'd love to know when that happened last.
When in Rome.
We'd be remiss to talk about Sebastian Lletget without also mentioning the fact that he is coming off suspension for using a homophobic slur, which I was really disappointed to hear and see and read about. But it's 2021. It's about making yourself better. And I have to give Sebastian Lletget also credit for being one of the first people to own it and say, that's not cool, unacceptable from me. And I have to be better. But it's not for me to forgive him, right? I'm sure he really let some of his fans down.
Mm-hmm. Especially in Los Angeles, I think that I do believe that he was really sincere in his apology, and he came out and owned it. straight up. Like, he was like, I really messed up and I am so sorry, and made no excuses, which I appreciate, because I think that, you know, you can't, if you offend somebody, it doesn't matter what your intention was, or, like, you know, if you didn't mean to, that doesn't matter. The point is the result. And the result is, you know, he offended and hurt a bunch of people. And so I appreciate that he made absolutely no excuses. I think it's a real teaching moment for everybody, especially in the soccer community,
to move on and get that word out of your vocabulary.
Get it out. No place for it. Absolutely no place for it. So,
on or off the field,
I
whatever
believe,
you mean.
I believe that Sebastian is sincere in you know, being better, just being better, and let this be a lesson to all of us to just be better. You know, humanity is important. Kindness is important. And your words matter. Time now for AT&T 5G Call to the Field. We are so excited to have this guy on. He's the voice of LAFC, the host of the Soccer OG on YouTube, a guy with, let's be honest, the best tan in the biz. Our good friend, live from his car in Miami, Max Bretos. What a ledge.
Thank you so much. It's just a tan on the face. You know, it's because it's just I'm walking around aimlessly in Los Angeles. We've had a lot of sunshine. It's not beach tan by any means.
That you get to be in LA or Miami.
I know.
How did that work out?
Well, I had an opportunity to call some Libertadores games. I actually have 2 today, including Boca Juniors Santos. So I'm really pumped. But it's really, see, my wife thinks I'm coming here and I'm on Wynwood and going to the beach and drinking Mai Tais, but I literally take a red eye. I go to my mom's house because she lives here, and then I spend the day there. I borrow her car, drive her crazy, come to the studio, and then I go back like Thursday first thing in the morning. So it's not really all that it's cracked out to be.
In and out. It's never as glamorous as people think
you two should know that.
Oh, I have put everything I own on a dirty bathroom floor and then put it on and acted like that I had a hotel room. And I didn't. I had a bathroom.
You know you've made it. You know you made it when you're literally in an airport bathroom, like plugging in your curling iron, doing full face of makeup, and people just come in and watch you, and they're like,
"Don't mind me.
What are you doing? What are you doing?"
So you have recorded in an airport, like you have to do segments and so forth, and set that all up?
No, I have had to get ready, like at an airport. Like you get an early morning flight, and so you don't have time to get ready. So you just do it at the airport bathroom and then go to your shoot wherever you're going. And it's, you know what? It's not ideal, but we make it work, don't we?
We're one step away from putting up the ring light and going there and doing a report live to MLS viewers from the airport at JFK. It's a matter of time.
Max, again, we're so thrilled to have you on. We have been sort of reliving our favorite El Tráfico moments over the last few years, because there have been plenty of incredible moments to talk about. But you have been very much sort of entrenched in the El Tráfico world. What are some of your favorite memories of that rivalry?
Well, first and foremost, it has to be the playoff victory for LAFC, not just because that's the club I'm affiliated with, but it was a magical night. All the particulars were there, playing at a high level. And more than anything, the atmosphere was, you know, one of those things you could only dream about a few years ago, this intensity. And it coupled with being in Los Angeles, the people watching there was off the charts. I mean, it was like a Hollywood event where, you know, like an award show or something along those lines. And I kid you not, I know I've said this story, I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but I'm just between the northeast corner of the stadium. I'm like doing the rounds, trying to watch the game. And then a solitary figure walks by. He's like, all right. And it was Kevin Costner, just like, we were walking around looking for a seat. I go, hey, are you lost? And I go, it's Kevin Costner. But it was like that. And it felt like, I felt like people who weren't there wish they could have been there, because it was just a remarkable evening. I will also add the first ever game. I remember getting to Dignity Health Sports Park, and that was obviously the Zlatan game. And just to be part of something that was so significant and history shows us how big it is because that video goes on and on. John Strong has his most famous call because we've heard it so many times because it's been played. It's been played with "Come on, come on,
come on!"
Great call. So if that was like real, that's a real. As a commentator, you love when you have those moments where it just comes from the heart, and that's where it is. You just can't believe what you're seeing, and then it all comes out. So that was a good one. It's the best part is about knowing where it's going. The growth is going to be there.
Let's talk about the future. You mentioned where it's going. Well, where it's going this year is having a healthy and confident Chicharito going up against Carlos Vela. What does that now do for this rivalry to have both these guys firing at full force and in the city of Los Angeles going up against each other? I mean, this just sounds kind of like too good to be true. Is this the moment that takes over the quote Zlatan game? And like now we talk about these two guys.
Jillian, I'll tell you, I will say that it's going to be huge because in addition to being LA and nationally huge, I think what puts it over the top with Chicharito playing so well is how it's going to be received in the Mexican media, which can really move the perception of Major League Soccer. If in Mexico and their media leads their news stories and their magazine shows and their debate shows like whatever Football Picante, those shows where they talk, and it will because it's Chicharito and Vela who are the A-listers in Mexico more so than any players that are there or players playing abroad. Maybe Chucky Lozano, maybe who am I forgetting? Chucky Lozano and Tecatito. Those are the guys that are on the top line of Mexico, and I think how it's going to perceived in Mexico to me. I know it's a little bit away from our perspective. Mm-hmm. Gives it this layer that I don't think it's ever had, and it's going to be a global event. And it's depending on what happens this week. And I know Carlos Vela didn't play this week. I don't know his condition. I imagine he's pretty close, but I'm not going to assume anything. But hopefully they're all guns a blazing. I'm sure he wouldn't miss that game by any means, and he certainly has time. But let's hope we can set it up this week where it's, as I say to LAFC fans, because they want the Galaxy to lose. I go, you want the Galaxy to win so you can have these games when you play each other that are so huge.
Where it matters, where it absolutely matters. Max, one of the last times I talked to you, we had a discussion about El Tráfico, like the name El Tráfico, and how like it's like super polarizing and like some people love it and some people hate it. Do you feel like people are finally kind of embracing that nickname in LA? Like is it just one of these things where that's what it is and it's stuck now?
I think it is. And once it's in the bloodstream through the media, and the media calls it El Tráfico, and it's a bridge too far now. For those I know in LA or certainly LAFC that don't like it, I know some of the players don't really like it. I just stay out of the way. I would like to, whatever the players want to call it, and I know Carlos Vela said let's call it El Clásico Angelino, and I go let's call it that. Ooh. But El Tráfico I think is too far gone. Where everyone's going to call it that, and you kind of have to adjust. But it's such I've never seen anything like it, Susannah. It's just something that it feels like every time this game comes up, we have to discuss it, and it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. You'd like to talk about the game, but the discussion about El Tráfico, because it's everyone's to blame because we haven't firmed it up, or there's still a little pushback about it.
Max, let's talk a little bit about you. You're an OG of the soccer broadcasting world. You're a trailblazer for Major League Soccer. You go back to your early Fox Soccer days, ESPN. How did you get into this crazy business and MLS specifically?
Oof, I just felt really old right then.
Sorry. I mean, you're so everywhere. You're a legend. Can you take us through it?
Of course. No, I'm just kidding. I actually wear that as a badge of honor. I'm really proud of it. And that's why I came up with I actually have a podcast, The Soccer OG, and I'm dabbling in that in this YouTube program. And I go, yeah, you're like the guy. You've seen it all. So I go, all right. So this manager of mine said that. I go, I'll run with it. But it's been incredible to be through that process to see where the sport has come. And MLS, I jumped in around 5 years in. So I wasn't there from the very beginning, but it came when I was at Fox covering the World's game, and then we had a package to do MLS, and I fell in love with it. And I'm so glad I had those years where they were formative years, where the league was growing and getting to where it is improving every year. And this year, it just blows me away. Coming off the pandemic, to have a season with such impact, with so many great goals, with so many fantastic players stepping up, like Chicharito, like Gonzalo Higuain, like Ezequiel Barco, these guys that we put under the microscope and they all answer the bell. So if with me, and it's been incredible because I remember when I started in 1990, you had to rent videotapes to watch these games. So when I started Fox, it was we had all the broadcast rights. We had England, Germany, Spain, and this was like 96, 97. And we had, I think the Premier League rights were $1 million that year. So now it's like a $400 million property. And some of these other leagues, they gave us our rights for basically nothing just to air them. And now they're just multi-million dollar properties. I take all the credit. And congratulations to everyone who's been able to line their pockets. I'm just kidding. But to see how it's come, it's particularly MLS, because I know all of us held our breath a couple times. Like, is this sustainable? And now we know it is.
They should send you royalties. I'm just saying. Like, someone should be putting a check in the mail once a month for you.
Fair. Max, you've been with LAFC since the beginning. Like, you've become the voice of this club. They have been incredibly successful, and it just feels like, every time I've seen you out in LA, you're just like, you're glowing, you're living the life. What do you love most about your job and working with LAFC?
Well, when I got there, I kind of knew how I wanted to approach it, and some people within the club goes, you've really got, if you want to be here, and I wanted to be here, I want this job for the rest of my career if possible, because if you want to be here, you have to keep up appearances. I guess this is some free advice for everyone who's getting in the business. If you're working with the club, go around, meet from everyone. If you can, the owners, if they're available, the players as much as you can, and then more than any, the supporters, because those are the guys that are going to be in your corner. So when I started, it was important to go to LAFC events, and what they would have them at restaurant partners or apparel partners. And then you meet all these people and making these relationships. And I guess because I've been at it a long time, they become a lot easier, because that's hard work. It's hard to introduce yourself and all that, but now it's been easier. And the clout with being at LAFC, and coming in with your LAFC polo shirt, whatever, it opens doors and people go, welcome, we love the club. And creating those relationships have made things so fulfilling, because they know who you are, and they're loyal to you, and you're loyal to them, and that's a feeling I haven't had in a long time. So I'm really glad that I've been able to revisit it now.
A feeling of community, no matter where you're at in your career, your life, is so important. I was on a podcast earlier, and they said, what was your biggest pinch me moment outside of 2018 MLS Cup for Atlanta United? And I said, honestly, my pinch me moment is when I'm just like walking through the tailgate or to the stadium, and like someone asks me how I'm feeling, someone asks me how I am, or they say like, Jill, your cat is so cute. And it's just those relationships, and like, it's so specific to MLS that you have made friends with these people that you interact with, whether it's out to eat or on Twitter. It's a beautiful thing. Max Bretos, give us the scoop on Bob Bradley. You cannot have a job at LAFC without being on Bob's good side. So tell us like the real deal. Like, how do you get on his good side? How do you maintain a relationship with Bob? And does he have a stylist?
I think Lindsay, his wife, gets clothes for him, and she does a great job, because I know fashion's very important, but Bob has a certain style which he nails there. And Jillian, I also want to say that you knocked that out of the park, your answer about working for a club, like walking through the tailgate and having those people talk to you, something they saw. That is as good as it gets. With regards to Bob, I've known Bob for a long time, but I was coming from like the dark side, so to speak, from ESPN, where you're like the journalist and
the dark side.
And Bob sees it as the dark side too. I think.
The dark side. Oh, you're one of those. I don't blame him. We're always ruffling feathers, and Bob takes in a lot of what he sees from all the media. He watches. I don't know where he has all the time, but when I got there, as much as I knew Bob, I reminded myself back to my last answer. I said, Bob is employee number one at this club. You've got to have a good relationship with him, and you've got to attempt that. And the first few weeks I did it. I kind of showed up and was like at training, and I'd ask him questions. And then I felt it. It wasn't where I needed it. And I called a lot of people. I go, what would you do? And I go, and I think it was Grant Wall actually told me, goes, have a good football conversation. I go, that's 2 words, football conversation. So I went up to Bob and I said, can we have a football conversation? He said, yeah. Sat down on the steps for like 45 minutes, talked about the game, what he saw, what I saw. It was a back and forth. It wasn't an interview. It was that. And I mean, that was just one. I would love to do it again because of the pandemic. We haven't been able to. But that 45 minutes was the most valuable time I've had at the club. And Bob will learn to respect you. And being at the press conferences, listening to the questions that he likes to answer and the questions that he doesn't, so that I can ask the right questions, because he'll give you great answers. But it's just learning and listening a lot of the times to build those to build that relationship. And Bob has been first class with me and our broadcast team. Always makes time for us. Always will be there, regardless of how the game's going. Always there to have a chat with us.
We're frantically taking notes as you're saying this. We're like, how to get on Bob Bradley's good side.
This is great
Football
advice.
Conversation. Football conversation.
Can we have a conversation?
Duly noted. I'm so glad you brought up the fact that fashion matters and that it is important, because in our world, it's very important. And we have engaged in some very fun banter with you on Twitter. Jillian and I gave our power rankings of best dressed coaches, and which has caused a lot of there's some hurt feelings out there in the Twitter sphere, which is fair. People want to see their guy up on top. Based on 2021 alone, just this season, who has impressed you with their style in the coaching realm? Who's caught your eye?
I follow your lead, and you guys had Curtin at number 1, right?
That was me.
Did. I had Lucci.
Last year he dressed great.
No, but I took a closer look.
Okay.
I took a closer look, and it's a good call. It's a good shout. And then with regards to Susannah's pick, Lucci, another great pick. And Lucci really handles himself well. And I saw him at a game and he goes, hey, and he knew, hey, Max, and he knew, I was like, how does he? And he comes through and it's very dignified. But Jim has that younger style, which I think is a smart play. But clearly, whoever it is, you guys have been feeding the monster, because everyone's bringing their game. When I saw Gio Savarese's post, I go, oh, yeah. It's on. People want to be on top of that list. And I think what's interesting is you don't have to dress in a suit. You got to have that style that just comes out and say, as you would know, they put some effort into this. They put some thought into this.
Max Bretos, thank you so much. We're going to put the pressure on you for our final question. What's your score line for El Tráfico?
Oof. Well, if LAFC are fully loaded, and I imagine they will be.
We're hoping they are. Yep.
I think it'd be. I mean, it's such a strange rivalry. I'm going to go very safe here, and I'm going to say, because it's going to be at the Galaxy's Park, Galaxy 2, LAFC 2.
Oh, a draw, Max Bretos? Probably the smart answer, but we like some wildness on the show. But we'll take it. See if it's 2-2 in our first El Tráfico 2021.
The smart answer is 1-1. I went 2-2.
Okay.
All right. You know what? No, I like it.
The smart answer is always 1-1.
We're going to see goals. We're going to see goals, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's scoring goals. All right.
So we'll take it. Max Bretos, you are the best. Hey, drive safe. Put that safety belt on.
All right, I'm done driving. This was just for the backdrop. This is a virtual screen.
Beautiful. Best yet.
I'm actually in my living room.
Always so energizing and fun to talk to Max Bretos, the lead broadcaster for LAFC and host of the Soccer OG. You can catch that wherever you get your podcasts and on Max Bretos' YouTube channel. God, follow him. You want to learn about MLS and honestly, beyond MLS,
Yeah.
follow Max Bretos. From you people at home, I know we say it all the time, but I want to know your thoughts on El Tráfico. Just saying.
Yeah, it's honestly, people either love it or hate it. It's so great. I
love it.
I know. I'm so here for that debate because I just think it rolls right off the tongue. El Tráfico, El Tráfico. But what did Max say that Carlos Vela wanted it to be? La Clásico Angelino.
I trust Carlos Vela, but Suze, you know what I thought about? I'm like, don't let the Galaxy fans hear that because whatever Vela's going to say he likes, they're going to try to come up with the polar opposite. So the players can't really dub name because how do you agree?
Exactly.
Unless they have like a meeting of the minds.
You're never
like the Galaxy and LAFC get together.
Mm-hmm. I remember in 2018, I was in LA to cover El Tráfico, and I spoke to both Bob Bradley and Siggy Schmidt at the time about the name El Tráfico, and Siggy loved it because Siggy was like, well, traffic's terrible in LA, so it makes sense, and Bob hated it. And then Bob hated it, so it was perfect. Like I was
That is good insight. Yeah.
Thank you. Guys, El Tráfico, the first El Tráfico edition of 2021, Saturday, May 8th. The Galaxy taking on LAFC, 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1 Fox Deportes and DAZN. Heck yeah. We're so excited.
Let's see if this is the new moment.
Oh my God, I know. I feel like there always are moments from this matchup. So we've got that to look forward to.
Oh, all right. Max Bretos said 2-2 draw. What's your scoreline, girlfriend?
Okay, I do think there's going to be goals. I'm going to say 3-2 to LAFC.
3-2 to LAFC.
Yeah.
Let's not forget when they met in the playoffs, it was LAFC 5.
Yes.
Galaxy 3. I freaking love that scoreline. 8 goals. I'm going to go Galaxy. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to go Galaxy 5-3.
I like it. Let us know what you think, y'all. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We love you. Enjoy the soccer. Come on. What's up, everybody? It is Susannah Collins and Jillian Sakovitz, co-hosts of The Call Up. And if you want more Call Up action, hit like and subscribe right here on YouTube, right there.
And also make sure that you download every episode of The Call Up every single Tuesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time or anywhere that you get your podcasts. And while you're here, why not check out some of these other videos as well?